Hello, welcome back to another episode. Jimmy introduces the first episode of Blackbird by talking about the butterfly effect, Jessica Roach, and how their lives are going to become intertwined. The story then switches to Jimmy leaving the house to meet Roger Nevins while carrying a bag and a pillow. I guess Roger will use the cushion. Jimmy is there to handle a botched cocaine shipment, but the goods in the bag are also there. Jimmy's guys turned out to have misplaced a whole kilo of drugs and attempted to blame Roger for delivering less. Consequently, Jimmy rewards him despite the fact that events drastically escalate. After a night of fun, Jimmy is taken into custody by Macaulay, and his house is searched for anything from drugs to cash to a K-47. Naturally, he gets arrested after that. When James pays him a visit, he informs him that Beaumont, the prosecutor, intends to use Jimmy as a scapegoat because he is the son of a former police officer. He claims that if he entered a guilty plea, he would now face a 5-year sentence. For good behavior, 4 years. He follows instructions, so he gets 10 years in prison rather than the expected 5. And while he is being dragged away to jail, Jimmy naturally starts to act out. There is a 7-month time shift. The couple, Beaumont and Lauren, pay Jimmy a visit. They begin discussing Jimmy's company there and how he is thriving there. After circling the subject for a time, Lauren decides to send Jimmy to a different prison in order to get a confession from him regarding where the corpse is exactly. According to Beaumont, Larry has allegedly killed more than 14 women. They must learn about the other 12 since they have only been able to link him to 2. Lauren explains that Larry is being held in a maximum security facility in Springfield, Missouri. Jimmy first declares that he is not going to do anything for financial gain. In response, Beaumont claims that if he accomplishes this, his sentence will be overturned and he won't have to spend 10 years in prison. Jimmy repeats no, as though he can already see Beaumont's dejected expression. Lauren adds that Larry is about to enter the outside world and may conduct horrific atrocities once more there. One last time, she tries and leaves Larry's file there, pleading with Jimmy to read it before refusing once again. Jimmy does, as expected, review the file. The story then jumps to Georgetown, Illinois, 4 years earlier, where Detective Brian Miller finds out about Jessica Roach's dead corpse. A Dodge van's participation is mentioned by a prospective witness. Brian discovers an article about a pervert who demanded that young females display their privatist parts 13 months later. When he checks, he discovers that the van's owner has previously been reported 3 times in a calendar year. The owner, he claims, is Larry D. Hall. Jimmy tells his father that he's thinking about accepting the bargain in the present. James recommends against it since he believes the location is reserved for freaks and no souls. He worries that if Jimmy doesn't complete the duty the FBI has given him, they will sentence him to an additional 10 years in prison. Chris is contacted by Brian to discuss Larry. Chris claims that Larry is not a suspect because he was far from the crime scene during his tour of Civil War reenactments. When Brian contacts to inquire about Civil War recreation permissions, he finds out that a Revolutionary War reenactment took place the day before Jessica vanished. Jimmy's stepmother visits him in jail and lets him know that James had a stroke. Sammy responds by telling Jimmy that he is the cause of James's worry when he starts berating her for not notifying him earlier. Sammy tells Jimmy that James wants him to accept the agreement because he believes he will die within the next 3 to 10 years after they have finished arguing. Brian phones Chris once again, and Chris informs him that Larry is a type of serial confessor who acknowledges committing serious crimes to appear, well, significant. Brian sees a gray van and sees Jessica approaching him from the field as he waits for Chris to call back. Brian asks Chris to bring Larry in so that he can be questioned by Brian. Chris refuses to believe Larry may be the murderer, but yet complies with scheduling the meeting. A deal is accepted by Jimmy. Lauren explains that only means he's one of many prisoners applying for this position. He must thus continue completing his studies if he hopes to ace the interview. When Brian shows up to speak with Chris, he discovers that the Marion police have been questioning him about the Patricia Rietler case since the morning. Larry is persuaded by Brian to discuss his trip to Georgetown, Illinois. He then begins to discuss Dodge van motor parts as well as motor parts in general. After some time has passed, Larry finally admits that he dreams of murdering women, and Jimmy carries on reading his file. Thanks for watching. Comment below. And don't forget to subscribe. Don't forget